Okay, we're skipping down to number 8 because 5, 6, and 7 you can do with the skills we talked about in 3 and 4. Number 8's a bit different though. If you do need help with 5, 6, and 7, ask Michaela. Okay, so given that negative 4i is a root, find all roots of this equation. So if negative 4i is a root, we know that its conjugate is a root because imaginary roots always come in pairs. So its conjugate, positive 4i, is also a root. So we know we have x equals negative 4i and x equals positive 4i. So if x equals negative 4i and x equals positive 4i, we can turn these into factors. The reason we want to turn these into factors is we can't really do synthetic with this imaginary. At least we haven't learned how to do that. So we're going to change that into x plus 4i. And we're going to change x equals 4i to x minus 4i. And then we're going to multiply these out. When we get our answer, we'll have an expression that represents the two factors corresponding with these roots. And we can divide the original problem by that to get our remaining quadratic and use the quadratic formula there. So what I'm doing here is I'm multiplying these out. X times x is x squared. I'm just going to do it like this. And then x times negative 4i is minus 4xi. 4i times x is plus 4xi. 4i times negative 4i is negative 16i squared. Alright? So all I did was I distributed x times x squared, x times negative 4i is negative 4xi, 4i times x is 4xi, 4i times negative 4i is negative 16i squared. Now that I've distributed, nice thing about conjugates is when you multiply them, these middle two terms are going to cancel out because they're opposites. Negative 4xi, positive 4xi. So I'm left with x squared minus 16i squared. If you remember, I squared equals negative 1. So this is really x squared minus 16 times negative 1. Negative 16 times negative 1 is positive 16. So in the end, we just get x squared plus 16. So now we're going to take this and divide this by it. Alright, so we have to do long division because we have that power there. So, again, x, actually what I'm going to do instead of rewriting this, I'm just going to take this, and put it here. And then I'm going to take, it was x squared plus 16, put it here. Okay. And we're going to divide. Whoop. That was worse than I want. Okay. X to the fourth divided by x squared is x squared. And now take that and multiply both of these. X squared times x squared is x to the fourth. Now x squared times 16, careful, is 16x squared. So I want to make sure I put that here underneath the x squared. So I'm lining up my like terms. So if you remember, you divide the first by the first, get the answer. Multiply that by the divisor, get your answer, put it underneath, and then you subtract. So now I'm subtracting. These cancel. This drops straight down. 2x cubed. This 21 minus 16 is 5x squared plus 32x plus 80. Alright, so now 2x cubed, I start over. I divide it by x squared. That gets me 2x. Okay, 2x times x squared is 2x cubed. And again, 2x times 16 is going to skip this term. 2x times 16 is actually 32x. So here when we subtract, These cancel and these cancel, and I get 5x squared plus 80.